There are several benefits for pre-planning your funeral. Most people that we speak with say they pre-planned for peace of mind. Peace of mind knowing that their final wishes are going to be honored. It also spares their loved ones from financial burden. It spares their loved ones from making difficult decisions when they're grieving at a very stressful time.
The advantages of doing this is our children at such an emotional time won't have to go through trying to decide what would we want. I thought it was very important for us, being Catholic, to decide on our church service and the readings we wanted, the music we wanted. And this is the funeral we want, not what our children would have to pick out, not actually knowing some of that stuff.
With this way, one advantage I found is that you have what you want, your wishes come into play. Also, you relieve your family of any maybe decisions that they would disagree on. In this way, they know exactly what I contemplate, what I want.
A good time to pre-plan your funeral would be when you're completing other important paperwork, such as a healthcare proxy, a living will, or a power of attorney.
My brother Tim was ill, and he had Down syndrome and dementia, and he was really kind of fading. But my sister and I went. Timmy didn't have that much input in it because of his condition, but we went and we picked out everything that we needed to do and sat down with people and just planned the whole thing right out from start to finish, if you will.
I think in both of our cases, we knew my mom was going to pass away relatively soon, and we knew that Tim was going to pass away relatively soon. But having pre-planned their funeral, we were then able to spend the rest of the time that they were alive with them in the best way that we could. And so that when the death occurred, it was still very emotional. We were grieving, we were no less upset than we would have been, but we already knew that everything was ready. All we had to do was call up the person that we had dealt with. And then when family came in, we just could spend the time with the family and relive all of the fun and happy memories that we had. So that really, really helped.
When an individual decides to pre-plan their funeral, the first thing they'll need to do is select a funeral home. Then they will meet with the funeral director, and he or she will go over the different options for their future funeral. The merchandise, flowers, caskets, all the services included in that funeral, and they'll provide the prices for those things as well.
It was really quite simple. The funeral director sat us down at a table and showed us the various plans and options that were available and what their costs would be. It showed us pictures of caskets and that sort of thing, and just what would be involved, and we established a baseline for a plan.
The purchaser is always in control of the pre-need account. They can change their selection of funeral homes at any time, and they can change selections of merchandise and services as well.
You should think ahead to the fact that you should have possibly a plot in a cemetery, if that's your wishes, your funeral director or the minister that you might want to conduct your services, and also I think you should put money ahead so that it's not left to other people to figure out how to bury you and what to do.
The funds are put into an escrow account per New York state law. Any interest earned on these funds will be applied to the rising costs of the services and merchandise that has been selected.
When we were pre-planning the funerals for both Ed's brother and my mom, we had to consider the price of everything. The money that we paid was put in an account, and it was earning interest, and we had no idea that that was going to occur. So when my mom passed, because it was quite a while before she died that we had prepaid this, the cost went up for the announcements. Nothing else changed, but we had the money to pay for that. We would have anyway, but it was just interesting to note that that was already there, that we could pay more for the newspaper announcement.
We're very lucky in New York. New York has the strictest pre-need consumer protective laws in the nation. The funds are safe. They need to be invested in government-backed vehicles, such as certificates of deposit. They're 100% FDIC insured. If a funeral home should go out of business, They will notify the consumer, and at that point they can choose another funeral home, or if it's a revocable account, they can choose to have their money returned, including interest, and there's no penalty for that. During the spend down process for Medicaid eligibility, an individual can set aside funds in an irrevocable burial account. These funds will not be counted as an asset.
I would recommend pre-planning because you don't know when it's going to happen, and it makes it so much easier on the surviving family members. We experienced it with my mom this past summer, and it was helpful because you're in such a state of grief and sadness that you really can't think straight. And so I'm glad that my father has made his arrangements, because now we know what he wants and he's going to get what he wants.
Pre-planning is truly a gift for those you leave behind. For more information, contact your local funeral home or the New York State Funeral Directors Association.